Today we're looking at solving polynomial inequalities. Solving polynomial inequalities. Tomorrow we're going to look at solving rational inequalities. Okay, we're going to kind of break up the inequalities into 2 days. But today, solving polynomial inequalities. If you can handle yesterday, you should be able to handle today. So, solving polynomial inequalities. Here's the first one. X squared plus 2x greater than or equal to 8. X squared plus 2x is greater than or equal to 8. Thoughts on what we need to do? Okay, move it over and factor. So x squared plus 2x minus 8 greater than or equal to 0. So that wants factors of 8 subtracted to give me 2. Or 2. Signs are different. Biggest one's positive, which gives me that. So this one right here produces -4, and that one produces 2. So if we were doing it like yesterday, we'd be done. But today we're dealing with inequalities, so I've got to do a little bit more. Does anybody know what else we need to do? All right, who said that? Put it on the number line. Because what are we interested in finding? What x values are we interested in finding? Since I'm an inequality. What x values am I looking for? Very good. The ones that make the inequality true. So when I plug an x value in here, I want it to produce a number that is greater than or equal to 0. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for x values that make the inequality true. Okay? Now here's a little trick that makes filling out the number line easier. Remember back to in behavior. I've got x squared. What do I know about the in behavior of this thing? It's going the same direction and both are going up. So if my ends are going up, what do I know about the ends of my number line? They're both going to be positive, and the bottom or the middle is negative. Make sense? Okay. So now I'm ready to figure out what I want. We want to make this thing greater than or equal to 0. So which sections do we want? All right. I want x values less than -4, and I want x values greater than 2. Here's the easy trick to be able to get to our answer. The sections that we want to put x's in that section, and then we always want our arrows to go to the left. So we always put our arrows to the left. Okay, in this case, I need equal to because it started with equal to. Now, anytime you have to write 2 x's, there always needs to be an or in between those 2 statements. Okay, and we're going to clean it up and write it in set notation, get a little bit, exact with our answer. So we're going to do x such that x is less than or equal to -4, or 2 is less than or equal to x. That's how we want to write our answer. So x, that little bar, that vertical bar means such that. So x such that x is less than or equal to -4, or 2 is less than or equal to x. So let's talk about this graphically. What do the positives mean is going on with my graph on those 2 sections? What do you say? All right, we know the ends are both going up. What else do I know? All right, I know that those sections, that graph should be above the x-axis, and I know this middle section, my graph should be where? Below the x-axis. So let's look and see if we can verify that. So there's our graph. I've got -4 over here on the left. I've got 2 on the right. Notice on the left and on the right, my graph is above, and notice in between, my graph is below. So that's something that your number line will tell you as well. Yes?
Will what you put on the number line always be your zeros?
Yes. All right, any questions on the first one? Sky?
How did you say you need the or? So
Anytime you have to write x twice, there's going to have to be an or. If you only write x once, there's not going to be an or. All right, next one. I have negative 8x cubed minus 30x squared minus 18x is less than 0. So I want to solve this inequality. Factor, what do you want to do to factor?
Take out a 2x.
I would take out a negative 2x. So if I do that, that's going to give me 4x squared plus 15x plus 9. I'll take out a negative 2x, gives me that. So what should I do with the trinomial? Slide and divide, so x squared plus 15x plus 36. What does it want me to look for? Factors of 36 that add up to 15.
12 and 3.
12 and 3, very good. This tells me signs are the same. This tells me they're both positive. And make sure if you're doing slide and divide, you remember the divide part. So that gives me 4 divided by 4. So I have x plus 3, and I have 4x plus 3. And don't forget about the negative 2x. So now I've got it factored. So what do I get out of the negative 2x? 0. The x plus 3 is negative 3, and that gives me negative 3/4. Make sure you put them in order on your number line. Negative 3, negative 3/4, and 0. All right, so I go back and look at this. What does that tell me?
It's
Different.
And the left side goes up.
Left side goes up, so since the left side goes up, that means I'm going to be positive, and negative. Okay, and what is it I'm looking for on this particular inequality? Less than 0, which means I want the what? Which sections do I want? I want the negative sections. Less than 0 is negative, so those are the sections I want. So I put x's in those sections. My arrows go to the left. This time I don't have an equal to. And since I wrote x twice, that means I've got to write an or in there. So I've got x such that negative 3 is less than x, which is less than negative 3/4, or 0 is less than x. There's my answer. So any x value between negative 3 and 3/4 or greater than 0, when I plug it into this problem, what should happen? Right, when I plug it into this problem, it should give me a number that is less than 0. That's what we're doing there. Okay, how else could I write this if I wanted my x to be on the left? Right, that's the same thing as x is greater than 0, so keep that in mind. If you like your x on the left, then you have to switch everything around. Alright, next one. 3x cubed minus 13x greater than or equal to 6 plus 4x squared. Yep, we want to start by getting everything on the same side. So I have 3x cubed minus 4x squared minus 13x minus 6 greater than or equal to 0. What are you saying? I can hear you. Alright, do synthetic division to help you find a factor. Alright, so what do we want to go with? 2? 3, 6, 2, 4, -9, -18. So we don't like 2. -1. So 3, -3, -7, 7, -6, +6. So -1 does work. So I'm dealing with 3x squared minus 7x minus 6. Kendrick, what do I want to do to that? I can do that, but since I'm at x squared, what can I do instead? Yeah, I can do slide, divide, and factor. So x squared minus 7x minus 18. What does that want me to do to 18? What does it want me to find? Factors of 18 and do what? So what would those factors be? 9 and 2. Signs are different. Biggest one's negative. Don't forget to divide. So that is x minus 3 and 3x plus 2. So I've got -1. I've got 3 from there. What do I get from that one? -2/3. So make sure you put it on your number line in the correct order. So we need -1, -2/3, and 3. Colleen, what does the 3x cubed tell me?
Opposite sides are right.
The right is up, so that means this right section is a positive or a negative? Positive. If it's going up, it's going to be a positive. So there it is. Okay, Blake, do I want the positives or do I want the negative sections?
Positives.
Very good. I want the positives because it is greater than. So I put an X, my arrows go to the left. So we've got X such that -1 is less than or equal to X, which is less than or equal to -2/3. Since I have 2 X's, what else do I need? I need an or 3 is less than or equal to X. So, Matthew, if I pick a number that's between -1 and -2/3 or bigger than 3, and I plug it back in here, what should happen?
It should be 0 for the output. Or no, it should work.
It should work, and by work, you mean that it will produce a number that is
Greater than or equal to 0.
greater than or equal to 0. Excellent. Very nice. Question on that one? Next one, 4x squared plus 8 less than or equal to 5 minus 2x. 4x squared plus 8 less than or equal to 5 minus 2x. All right, Bree, what do we want to do to this one? Okay, so 4x squared plus 2x plus 3 less than or equal to 0. Kaylee, what do I want to do next? Slide divide, so 4 times 3. So x squared plus 2x plus 12. And what does it want me to find?
Factors of 12 added to make 2.
Factors of 12 added to make 2. What do you think about that? It is not possible. It is not possible. So what does that tell me? We don't know that just yet. We do know something else though. What will it not have? It will not have 0. So we know there are no real zeros. So what does that tell me about my graph? If there are no real zeros, which means it is, if it doesn't touch the x-axis, that means my graph has to be where or where? All above the x-axis or all below the x-axis. So I go back to this, and that tells me my graph is all above, so I'm all above. And then I need to ask myself, what does the problem want me to find? Less than, so it's interested in the part of the graph that is located where? Underneath. Do I have anything that's underneath?
No.
So what does that mean? There is no solution to this problem. What if it wanted greater than or equal to 0 instead? What would my answer be? All real numbers. Good. Okay? Everybody understand what was going on in this problem? Okay? I think we have one more. Oh, and there's the graph of it. Notice it's all above the x-axis like we said it would. Yes, Christian?
So for the answer for number 4, would you want us to put all three, the no real zeros, all above, no solution?
No solution's all I really need.
Okay.
But it's good that you can verbalize the other parts.
Okay.
You really need the other parts to get to your final answer. Yep, last one. All right, 2b squared plus 16 less than or equal to b squared plus 8b. 2b squared plus 16 less than or equal to b squared plus 8b. All right, Reagan, what do you want to do to it?
You have to get them all on the same side, so subtract b squared from both sides, and then subtract 8b squared.
Very good. So I subtract b squared and I subtract 8b. So I get b squared minus 8b plus 16. So we're ready to factor. And it wants me to find what, Bobby? What does it want me to find? Alright, so what are factors of 16 that add up to 8? 4 and 4, good. So signs are the same, they're both negative. So since I have b minus 4 and b minus 4, I can write it as what? B minus 4 squared. So what does that mean is going on at 4? It just bounces, right? Since I have a multiplicity of 2, that means it's going to bounce. And that means both sides of 4 should have what? The same sign, and why should it be positive, Christian?
Because the coefficient is positive, so we know that the graph itself will be positive.
Very good. So that right there tells me both ends are going the same direction. Since it's positive, they're both going up. So since they're both going up, that means I need a positive on both sides. So Lauren, what does this problem want me to find? Less than or equal to 0. So what would you give me as the answer?
4.
Say again. You might have been right. I just couldn't hear you. 4. We like 4. Why do we like 4? Kendrick, why do we like 4? Haley?
It's where it touches 0.
Which means what? And it's equal to 0. But we don't like anything else because everything else is what? Positive. Everything else is greater. So our only solution is b such that b is equal to 4. What if the equal to wasn't there? No solution would be my answer. Okay? What if it was greater than or equal to? What would my answer have been? All real numbers. Good. So that is solving polynomial inequalities. Any remaining questions? All right, 2 to 16 even on page 145.